Bonchi your pepper plants. If you're unfamiliar with that term, you've most likely have heard the term bonsai or seen a bonsai plant, which is a Japanese technique of growing a small tree in a shallow container. Bonchi is growing a pepper plant in a small container, but instead of decorative purposes, you're growing the plant to full maturity over the winter so that you can get a jump start on fruit production in the spring garden. So on the next slide, you'll see I have a serrano plant that I started in January of 2020. I didn't get it out and into my raised bed that year, but I got it out this year in May of 2021, and that's how the plant looks now in November. So what I'm proposing is that you get a 1 gallon container or even something that's slightly smaller, and then you use the following technique. Here I have a shishito pepper that's in a 1 gallon container that I'm going to pot up to a 3 gallon container. You're going to use the same technique whether you're using a container, a raised bed, or in ground. You're going to displace the soil and make sure that the container can fit in the designated area that you want to plant. You want to make sure that the soil of the plant is somewhat dry so that you can remove the entire plant easily. So now I'm just grabbing some elemental sulfur. I'm going to sprinkle that into the base of the container. You will sprinkle that into your raised bed or in ground to lower the pH, and it's a nutrient that the peppers need anyway. So once you have the area prepped, you're just going to remove the plant and take the entire plant, squeeze the bottom of the container, slide it out and into its new home. The main difference is if you are placing the plant in a raised bed or a in ground, I would recommend that you use cow manure, and you're just going to top dress the plant with cow manure rather than the Job's fertilizer that I'm using. The other thing that you will do is pinch off all of the fruit buds when you plant it into your container or into your raised bed to give the plant a chance to grow. And you may have to pinch off the flowers several different times depending on how quickly the pepper plant starts to form flower buds until the plant reaches its ultimate size. So here I'm going to add some liquid seaweed as a fertilizer. And one of the things that the liquid seaweed does is it has hormones in it that's going to stimulate the root production. So you just want to water it in well, make sure your soil quickly drains. Pepper plants do not like to be waterlogged. And if you're keeping this plant over the winter, this should be all the water that you're going to need. Pepper plants during the winter, since it's going to be low light, since you're keeping it inside, do not need that much water. It's not going to be until you plant it in ground during the spring and has more light where you'll need a little bit more water. And then you want to make sure you don't overwater the plant until it starts to set fruit. Then you're going to give it a little bit more water. But you can take a dwarf pepper plant, plant it in ground or in a raised bed, and get a full producing plant.